welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, as you can see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today. I feel like it's just customary now, I suppose, to be having these late night episode recordings of Animal Crossing. I need to record some other episodes of things as well, but unfortunately I've just been a bit busy this week, so luckily I have a small backlog. I had a backlog of about a week. I think I have a backlog of about 3 days now, so probably on Saturday I'll probably have to record a lot. Well, I say record a lot, record more than normal. 616 subscribers? What on earth? When did I don't even know when we hit 600. It's something that happened at some point, but just checking my backlog. Why does Force Perspective have 97 views? Stone Beach is 122? What is going on? Anyway, good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:58 PM on Thursday, September 28th, 2023. I haven't actually responded to comments for ages, so I haven't actually looked at YouTube Studio in much detail, apart from just uploading videos. That's crazy. Wow, Goodbye Volcano High is one of the highest art time lapses in recent memory, I think. Oh well, that's pretty cool, I guess. Just gonna make sure. Have I titled tomorrow's episode? I have titled tomorrow's episode. Fantastico. I think here normally I would continue with the holiday conversations, but let's have a break from the holiday conversations just so we're not talking about the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know why my tongue like really randomly hurts. Do I have like a sore on it or something? I mean, certainly your tongue is probably one of the worst places I think to get an injury. So I was just looking for my water bottle. It probably isn't the worst, but still. I'm trying to think like when I say worst place to get injury, okay, let's turn that down. I mean that in a figurative sense, not a literal sense. I mean that in a dramatic, theatrical sense, not a literal sense. I don't mean it's literally the worst place. I mean, I'd imagine literally the worst place to get an injury might be like your brain or your heart. But I mean for like minor inconvenience injuries. And by injuries, I mean more like cuts and scrapes and scratches, you know. Let's not go too far delving into a horrific injury sort of rabbit hole, which I have no intention to go down. But you know, on your tongue, getting it like, well, okay, let's say this. Where's the worst place to have like a paper cut or something? I'd say I don't even know how you would paper cut your tongue, to be honest. Like, I guess if you'd be licking envelopes or something to seal them. And it's also weird to think about the fact that people don't really send posts nowadays. Like, when's the last time you sent a letter? The last time I sent a letter was like a physical letter. I think it was I had to give in a form. I don't even remember what for. It was probably some official form. Maybe it was like a driver's license thing or something. I can't remember. But when's the last time you've ever recreationally sent a letter? Like a letter you didn't have to. I don't think I've ever sent a letter recreationally. No, that's not true. We had to do it back in reception. I can't remember. I think we had to like send a letter to our house. Technically, I think what you were meant to do is you were meant to send it to like, you know, like a relative, you know, or something. Because it was sort of like, oh, why don't you send a letter to your grandma or your grandpa, you know, because that's like quite a nice thing to do. But the thing is, my grandparents don't live in the UK, they live in China. So it's like, I can't really send like an international letter to China, I suppose, based on like the like 10p stamps that we were meant to be using for that. It was just meant to be a nice exercise, I suppose, on going to the post office as a class. So I think I just sent it to my house to my parents or something instead, which I'm sure they love as well, to be perfectly honest. But I don't know, it just sort of it just makes you think, you know. It just makes you think. Anyway, sorry, worst place to paper cut. Tongue has got to be out there. I gotta say joints is one of them. I actually have like 2 tiny cuts. I have no idea where they came from, but they're just like, how do I describe them? On my index finger. Like, imagine you're looking at the fingernail side and you just slowly rotate around to the right. Like at the end, the proximal, distal phalange. I mean, that's a bone, I think, technically, but whatever. I forgot what I was going to say about this, but yeah, I've got like a very random crisscross cut, which I have no clue where it's from. It definitely wasn't from a holiday. Well, I don't think it was from a holiday. But actually saying that, I do remember from a holiday I got like when I had like some scampi burrata, which I talked about, I think, in yesterday's episode, which is basically just like shrimp, some prawns, and like a sauce. I don't even know what sauce it is, some tomato based sauce. But the shrimps and prawns, of course, you have to like take them part by hand, but they're like so sharp and pointy, it's very difficult, I think, to like, I mean, it's not difficult to necessarily like open them up or anything like that, but they leave quite the mark on your thumbs. Like, I remember when I was looking at my thumbs and fingers afterwards and being like, damn, they're kind of like messed up right now. I also have like, I don't even know what this is on my thumb. some sort of injury. I don't even know where it came from. Where all these random injuries come from? It's actually happened a lot to me when I was younger, more than now, I think. But sometimes I would just wake up and I get like random bruises, like on my legs or things, which I actually genuinely think that it's something like if you get random bruises which are unexplainable, that's actually something that you're meant to like medically seek advice for, because I don't know what it could be, but it's something bad, because I have looked it up before. But these aren't unexplained. It's absolutely because apparently when I was younger I used to like move around a lot in bed. I used to just like almost certainly I'd walk into something and I just forget I walk into something. I feel like my pain tolerance is I don't know if it's actually that high now I think about it. So I feel like I'm very good at like swallowing my pain, I suppose, for like spurts, maybe. Spurts is not really the right word, but like, say, I'm going to take an example, like a mild example which people can relate to, because I'm not going to go into extremes. Like you stub your toe on a desk or something. A lot of people just go, grab your toe and that sort of thing. I think I'm very good at just, stubbing my toe on the desk and just continuously walking if I need to. But I don't know if my pain tolerance is necessarily higher than the average person. I think my ability to suppress pain or my ability to tolerate pain might be higher. So wait, hold on. I literally just said pain tolerance. It's not my ability to feel pain is lower so much as is my ability to shrug it off might be higher, but it's not my tolerance is high, maybe. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if that's like an official way to test your pain tolerance. I don't really want to be perfectly honest. And let's be real. It's sort of like why subject yourself to pain unless for no apparent reason. Unless you want to, in which case, go ahead. Don't let me stop you. As long as you know what you're getting into. But it reminds me of, I think Mythbusters like tested it. I can't remember. They were trying to test like different demographics to see what demographics were the best theoretically at dealing with pain. Which I must imagine like the way they got their samples must have been like an incredibly biased sample size in the end or something. Because not to say that what they did wasn't scientific. I've certainly entertaining television nonetheless. But I think they had like a sample size of like 100 or so, which is not. It's not unreasonable. I'm not expecting them to get like a sample size of like thousands, I suppose, just for their TV show, but almost certainly they were all like sample size from one area or whatever. Anyway, I can't remember exactly the results. I think it was something like women have a higher pain tolerance to men, and also like redheads have a higher pain tolerance. And this was a physical. Technically, this was physical pain tolerance in relation to very cold temperatures or something. I remember they built like this big clock thing where it's like you had to submerge your hand in like freezing water or something. It was just like, how long can you leave it in there for, like 2 minutes or something, and it was like this massive chair or whatever. But that's what comes to mind. It was something about pain tolerance. I don't know if there's actually studies on that. Pain tolerance. Do you think there's a Wikipedia page? Pain tolerance is the maximum level of pain that a person's able to tolerate. Fair enough. Clinical studies. Men had higher pain thresholds and tolerances and lower pain ratings in women when they expressed a cold pressor pain. Cold pressor pain. Involves placing a hand or a forearm in cold water, a stimulus that produces a slowly mounting pain of mild to moderate intensity. So, in fact, the opposite of what Mythbusters found out. Asked to submerge a hand in ice cold water and told members of the experimental group, as opposed to a control group, that they would be compensated financially for keeping their hands submerged. Suggested explanations for this difference include men are more motivated to tolerate and suppress expressions of pain because of masculine gender role, while feminine gender role encourages pain expression and produces low motivation to tolerate pain among women. I don't know, I'm not a behavioural scientist, it's not really for me to judge, but interesting. Passive or active support. Focus on best in visual shopping ice water procedure accompanied by another participant. But passive and active support reported less pain, regardless of whether they were paired with a friend or stranger. That's interesting. Just the presence of another person allows you to tolerate pain better. It's interesting to see all these like psychological results of things, because and I think it just genuinely will be human condition, I suppose, and the way it is. It's very difficult to get solid explanations of why these happens. You can only get results, and you can only make up your own guesses of what these ideas entail in the first place. So, like, what interests me most about that is the fact that reported less pain when participants, regardless whether they were paired with a friend or a stranger. So for one, there's no adverse effects. Actually, it doesn't say here if it was the same amount of less reported pain. Because that would be the most interesting to me. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a friend or a stranger, you tolerate pain the same amount more. Or something. Who provides passive or active support reduces experimental pain. I can't imagine what that experiment must be like for active support, being like, yeah, go on, you can do it, keep your hand in that ice. Age and pain tolerance are relevant, especially in elderly, because if a pain is detected too late. Current knowledge shows that pain tolerance does not show substantial change with age. Oh, only pain thresholds shows an effect and it increases with age. What is pain threshold versus pain tolerance? It's a point along a curve of increasing perception of stimuli at which pain begins to be felt. Okay, so it's when you actually start feeling pain. While pain tolerance is when you're feeling pain, how long you can, or what level of pain you can withstand or something? Although it's inconclusive, some studies have shown that non-Hispanic whites possess higher heat and cold pain tolerance when compared to African Americans and Hispanics. Alright. I guess. I mean, and to be fair, it just said some study shows, which doesn't really mean it does happen. No, it doesn't really mean it actually is that case or not. It's interesting though. Like, I've no explanation whatsoever about what these pain tolerances are. To me, like, my understanding it would vary basically from person to person, basically on how they interpret, it's not the right word, but how they, like, internally with their mind feel pain. You know, and interpret the same stimuli in reaction to pain. But in my brain, or of course with no scientific basis or backing whatsoever, it would just be, you know, randomly distributed from person to person. There would be no other factors relating to it, because I don't know, it doesn't seem like something which is particularly related to any factor apart from your own perception of the pain, right? It's interesting to see that there possibly are correlations as well, which is weird, because I generally have no idea why that would even be the case. Again, I'm not a psychological behaviourist or scientist or anything like that, so perhaps there are reasonable explanations which can point to things or not, but to me, as I suppose, like, outsider looking in, I'm just sort of like, really? It's actually one of the most surprising things I'm reading. Patients with chronic mood disorder show increased sensitivity to pain. Interesting. I mean, okay, that one makes most sense to me, because isn't it that, like, a lot of mood disorders tend to actually rewire your brain in certain ways, and I suppose if a brain is where you feel pain, it makes sense that something can happen. Disorders weaken the cognitive aspect of pain and thus lower pain tolerance. Weaken the cognitive aspect of pain? What does that mean? Like, a part where you think about pain? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff at conditioning. Exposure to painful stimuli will increase pain tolerance. There's evidence to support the theory that the opposite occurs. Wow. I don't know, to be honest. Trauma victims or patients in pain are given painkillers as soon as possible to prevent pain sensitization. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. I didn't realise that was a reason, at least, behind it. I mean, to me, it was just be like, if people are in pain, they're given painkillers so they don't have to be in pain. But the fact there's another layer to it, on top of it, it's actually interesting. Sorry, I don't want to turn this into an episode of Dear Darling just reads a Wikipedia article, but yeah, pain tolerance. I don't know. I remember when I was younger, I always used to say I had a much lower pain tolerance than other people. It's a thing where I said, no joke, I said I had, like, sensitive skin or whatever, because I'd bruise easily, or I just, like, didn't like being in pain. I feel like it's a pretty human thing to be like, you know, I don't really like being in pain. Well, I mean, some people certainly do, but I think in a controlled manner. I don't think people like being in an uncontrolled amount of pain. Well, I mean, maybe people do. Who knows? Everyone's different, but I don't know. I don't really know if I have anything which is sort of like a particularly good evaluation for my own pain tolerance. I know there's I think it was like a Try Guys video I watched or something, where they tried, like, simulate childbirth or something using I can't remember what those machines are, the ones with, like, the electrostimuli which, like, make your muscles sort of like contract and relax or something. And those are, I'm not sure if it's like I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're meant to be used for like some sort of therapeutic tools or whatever, but they're not like meant to be used as pain inducers. But I suppose that's probably like one of the best ways to test like your pain tolerance, right? Because that's probably something reasonably accessible, I'd imagine. It's a medical device. I can't imagine you wouldn't be able to just like buy it off Amazon or something, and then just see how much pain you're willing to like to tolerate or something. I genuinely don't know. I'm trying to think. Through anecdotal evidence, do I think I have a high tolerance or a low tolerance to pain? Because the more I think about it, the less so I am. You know, despite the fact I started a conversation by being like, I think I have a higher pain tolerance to other people, but not necessarily a higher pain threshold. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know. I think maybe I'm more willing to shrug off pain, but or like it's actually this really stupid thing I say, but for like whenever you're cold or whatever, if you just like I don't know how to phrase this properly, but when you're cold, you're like shivering and it's cold and it's like in your head, you're like you're freezing. But there's a thing for whatever reason I can do where I'm just like, okay, if I just tell my brain, I'm like, I'm just going to stop shivering, I'm just going to stop being cold. It's like a mind over matter thing. And then it's not like I feel any warmer from it, but I don't feel the negative repercussions of feeling cold anymore. Now, it doesn't last very long, mind you, but it's the sort of thing where I could just like temporarily just like shut off that instinct and just be like, oh, you know, just immediately just like stop shivering. And then it's just like for the briefest of moments, it's like my brain tricks itself into being like, oh, you know, this cold feeling, this feeling of being cold is actually the feeling of being warm, and you're completely fine. And that's just it, which kind of feels like a cheat code, I think, for pain tolerance. It doesn't really feel like pain tolerance so much as pain rewiring, which is, I don't know, a whole different can of worms. Anyway, my pain tolerance, I don't know if it's necessarily higher or lower than the average person's. I'm going to do the safe bet and just guess I'm around the average. Or I fall within the middle quartile or something. I don't know. Is there like a pain tolerance scale? I know there's the insect bite scale, which I think I've actually spoken about before, but pain tolerance scale. It's also a thing with doctors of me, like, what's your pain on like 1 to 10? I feel like it's very hard to quantify these things because you can only have your own personal experiences with these sort of things. Dolorimeter. An instrument used to measure pain threshold and pain tolerance. Wow, it actually is a thing. Dolorimeter. What even is this? It kind of looks like a barometer, but you just like push it onto someone's skin, I guess. And these have a certain amount of ratings on the dolorimeter. So it turns out there actually is a scale. Is it like actually like true? I don't want to say true, but like, is it like does it have a solid basis? I think dolorimeters apply steady pressure, heat, or electrical stimulation to some area to determine what level of heat or pressure or electric current produces a sensation of pain. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Close that Wikipedia article, but it's a very common thing in like doctor's appointments or things to be like, oh, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you in right now? Which I feel like is intrinsically a very difficult thing to say, because like I guess I can only really compare it to my own life experiences. But if I'm someone who's like never been in a serious amount of pain, I might like highly overrate myself and be like, I've never broken a bone or like anything like that. And you said, you know, maybe if I just like if I break a bone, I'll be like, oh, I broke a bone. I'll be like, oh, I'm in like 10 out of 10 pain, which is the worst pain I've ever been in, because that probably would be the worst thing I've ever felt. But if I'm just like, I don't know, like a stunt double or something, I'm trying to think of a profession which regularly like breaks bones, and stunt double is the only one I can really think of. And then like I would like break a bone or something, I might be like, I'm severely underrated. Be like, oh, you know, the pain's about like a 5 or something. It's nothing I've not been through before. How do you rate your own pain scale? I know you're just sort of meant to take a random guess of being like, you know, judging by your own experiences and that sort of thing, because that's the only like basis you have, and then judging based off like what the scale of reasonable amounts of pain that a person's been feeling. I mean, you sort of have to like logically guess. But if anything, it's a sort of barometer how willing you are to deal with the pain, right? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. What am I? I'm just a deer. I'm just here to talk. I'm going to round this episode off here because I've lost track. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. My socials and Discord are down below. Hope we see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.